how did you, I know, because you really just like one day you made a post and you like announced it to the world, like, I'm doing this now solely. And I know you even said, I think in the post, I know that this is going to be a shift in my finances, a shift in the way I spend my time from day to day. Like, how has that been now since you made that announcement to the world?
Very difficult.
Really?
Yes.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Animal House, the legend. I'm Annalise Everton, aka Animal, and I'm a realtor here in Virginia, specifically the Hampton Roads Market. Here on Animal House, we like to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the exciting things of real estate, the personal, the professional, and everything in between. And I am here today with Sydney Comisky Martinez.
Hey guys.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So Sydney and I have been in each other's lives for the past few years. She is a mortgage professional, but she has recently made a transition into a creative space. And I'm super excited to talk with her about her mortgage experience and her transition because a lot of real estate professionals are always looking for something else to do, especially creative.
Yeah, and especially right now. I mean, we've had such an interesting real estate market for the past couple of years. I know a lot of people got in when the demand was super high and it almost felt easy. And then all of a sudden these last few years, it's felt really difficult to be in this industry. So I know a lot of people are either looking to, kind of enhance their side hustle or get out entirely.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you kind of got to mortgage and your creative background from before you got to this transitional period?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been a creative. I think that's something that, when you're creative, you're just kind of born with it. And it's kind of been a family thing. So my father drew a lot. I have some of his pictures. He was married to a photographer for a long time. So I remember, her teaching me about photography. And it's always something that interested me. I even went to a special school locally, like a gifted program for kids for art. So I went there for about 6 years.
Okay.
And I learned a lot. I mean, I still remember a lot about it. And I'm actually trying to, I'm going to have to see my son, if my son can get in. Because he's definitely like showing signs of being gifted in art. And not only that, my mom's a hairstylist and that takes a lot of artistic ability as well. So I've always kind of been surrounded by, art my whole life in a sense.
Creative space.
Exactly. And mortgage industry, I've been in that since 2017. I was actually in real estate before that.
Okay.
A couple years before that, I worked with what used to be, it was Prudential Town Realty.
Okay.
I know that doesn't exist anymore. Berkshire Hathaway bought them out several years ago.
Okay.
But I was an admin for a really successful real estate, two brothers, Trey and John Decker there. And they've grown to be my friends, but I worked with them when I was really young, and that kind of introduced me to real estate as a whole. So
I didn't know that part about you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of a surprise that I used to work for them. And I mean, I was like 19 when I worked for them.
Yeah.
So I was really
learned
young.
a lot from them. They're both wonderful real estate professionals.
Yeah, and it was right during the times of like 2009. So
tricky times in real estate.
So we were doing a lot of like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac foreclosures.
Right.
We were self-taught and everything. We just figured it out. And it was me and Trey mostly managing like 60 properties of foreclosures at one time. So it was, thank God I had that youthful energy.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a plus.
Yeah.
Especially like with them and their energy, especially to be able to take on that many transactions at one time. And you've got to be on the go.
Exactly. And I feel like that helped me out in a sense of when I did get into the mortgage business in 2017, having that background and understanding. I mean, I helped Trey write contracts, residential contracts. So I knew what I was looking at. I knew how the process worked. I'd worked with lenders in the past. And so I kind of flipped sides. So.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm sure that was super helpful. So your initial licensing into mortgage, how was that first year for you?
it was difficult finding clients because I have a hard time being in a sales position because I don't like to push people.
Right.
But I like to naturally connect.
Right.
So I take time and relationship build.
Yeah.
And I think that helped me in the long run. But in the beginning, it took a lot of effort to create those relationships naturally. And then I will say what helped me out a lot is, I was coming into a business where during a time when not a lot of people were using social media as they do now.
Right.
People were not doing these like videos and Mortgage Tip Tuesdays and all that stuff. And podcasts, yeah. So I used that to my advantage, and I would start doing all these videos and like, mortgage tips and cute little things. And I think that helped out a lot. But I mean, that first year was tough. I had to I figured it out. It was a sink or swim moment. I worked with a bunch of great people, but I did not have the best teachers. Everything I kind of had to do was like self-taught.
Okay.
And it was very much like, hey, here you go, figure it out. If you have a question, come to me. So I messed up a lot in the beginning, and it was very stressful. But I think, I kind of learned on the go anyways. It helped me out. Yeah,
because then you retain that information a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Going into the next couple of years in mortgage, we obviously had the interesting time of COVID, the low rates. How did that go for you with all the fanatic of multiple offers? And at that point, I'm sure your clientele base was really built up. Were you able to help people win multiple offer situations? What were some of your techniques?
I mean, so at that point, I had transitioned out of working at Town Bank as a mortgage loan officer. I transitioned into being a broker, which I felt COVID was the time to be a broker. Our rates were phenomenal. And I mean that we helped enhance so many people's buying power. And there was not a big broker pulse here yet, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like there is now.
Right.
Because, people kind of transitioned back into that wholesale lending. But at that time, we were pretty new into the broker scene. And I mean, my business exploded. And not just with purchases, but with refinances as well.
Yeah.
And I look back on it fondly because sometimes I'm like, wow, what a great time. But also, I have never been so stressed in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I was managing 2 children. My ex-husband at that time, he was gone a lot, it was so up in the air where he was going. Because of COVID, shut everything down. And then managing, 2 young children. I think my daughter was born in 2019. She was only a year and a half when all that hit. And I was working until 1:00 in the morning, many nights. And now, if I could go back and tell myself something, I would just be like, go to fucking bed. Like, it's okay to hustle, but go the fuck to sleep. I was so skinny because I was not eating. I was just working and like surviving. And I was so tired.
You didn't have that balance, work-life balance.
No, God, no. I don't think there is such thing. I think that's a fake because I listened to it somewhere. They're like, if you're the whole work-life balance, I'm at work right now, but I'm missing something with my child.
Yeah.
But if I'm with my child, I'm missing something that has to do with work. So you always kind of feel like you're falling behind.
Yeah. In one or the other.
Yeah. There's no balance at both. You're both sacrificing something. Yeah. So you're sacrificing either something that has to do with work or you're sacrificing home life.
Yeah. That's a good point. And I always think that subconsciously probably, but I think in my heart and the core of me, I'm like, it's attainable. I can get work-life balance, but
it doesn't exist.
It might be a false narrative.
It is. The hustle and grind culture kind of like influenced that whole, you can do like, you can balance and stuff and you can do it all type of woman. And, there's nothing wrong with admitting that you just can't do it all.
Right. Yeah. Well, and not too many decades ago, women had a completely different role.
Exactly. And I think now we're trying to like almost overcompensate for it and work even harder.
Yeah.
And trust me, I am all feminist as
Yeah.
I'm like, you go girl. Like I'm woman supporting women all the time. But at some point, you know, it takes a little piece of your soul trying to do both all the time.
Yeah. Especially if you're one of those moms. I mean, honestly, moms, not being a mom is for everybody. And nobody knows that until you have a kid. So if you have kids and you realize I am totally embracing motherhood, I love it. I love being with small children.
Yeah.
You know, me and my kids have a great relationship. At that point, it's like you have to make a choice, especially if you've built a career before you had kids.
Yeah.
So I get that.
I think my thing would be is stop trying to be super mom or superwoman.
Yep. In every situation.
In every situation. Well, here's the thing, because you already are.
Yeah.
There's no gold medal to obtain.
Right.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
Like, give yourself a fucking break.
Yeah.
Give yourself a break.
There's no advice as you give it.
There is no gold medal at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
Get your rest. Like it will, if you need to, just, it will all be there tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So.
Yeah. That's really good advice. I think a lot of people probably need to hear that. So.
Yeah. I needed to hear it.
Yeah.
And I would have never listened to that years ago.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that this mentality is what led you to your transition.
Yeah. So it was more, I started getting better at setting boundaries, giving myself more time to have creative time. One big thing that I did do is when my children went to elementary school from a like daycare and private kindergarten, I was like, I don't want my kids in an after school program.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like that. And two, the government did that on purpose. I believe I'm a conspiracy theorist in this. They didn't want working women. Women were at home. So that's why school starts when most people go to work and then ends before the working day is over. The only way to help compensate for that is you have to put them in an after school program that costs money.
Yeah.
So, and that takes away your time. Not a lot of jobs are going to give you a little flexibility on that. And I think it is changing. It is changing. It's a slow change though. But mortgages did give me that opportunity. And so does real estate. It gives you that opportunity to work at your own pace, work from home, pick up your kids from school, not put them in an after school program, bring them with you or figure it out.
Yeah.
And that was my one thing. I was like, I don't want to put them in an after school program. If their school gets out at 2:30, I want to be able to go get them.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal to me. So with that, I had to start setting boundaries.
Yes.
And then you're in real estate, people will text you. People will push those. They're like, well, let me text her at 10 p.m. Maybe she's up. If
you don't set the boundary, they're going to see what they can, kind of like a child, they're going to see what they can get away with.
And then they'll do it all the time.
Yeah. And being that a lot of people in real estate are people pleasers.
Yeah.
And either that or just their last deal was quite a bit ago or whatever. They're sometimes maybe a little desperate. They'll lower those boundaries for people. And it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And I started setting those boundaries. And with that, I started working from home more instead of going into an office.
Yep.
I also had for a while there, a pretty toxic office environment. So I opted to work from home, and working from home gave me more time to get creative. And so I started kind of just getting into painting again. And I was like, gosh, I haven't painted in forever. I've always been creative. Like I would always paint my kids' walls and these murals and all this stuff. And but on canvas, doing that, I wanted to be able to kind of get into that space again. And I realized how much I enjoyed it and how much it helped me mentally. Especially at a time when I just gotten onto antidepressants. I needed that. Like it helped.
Right.
So, and then I have an obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay.
So when I latch on to something that I love or I find enjoyment in, I do it all the fucking time.
Then I may have a little bit of that too, because I'm going to latch on to anything I find enjoyment with also.
So I just went and I was like, I would campus after campus, and I just started buying all these things and doing it every day. And my husband was like, how much stuff are you going to paint? Like it just became like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, I started posting about it, and then people started wanting to buy the paintings. And then after that, I got it. It's all kind of just like slow rolled.
Yeah.
And then I got the opportunity to do large scale mural. And after that, the next opportunity came.
Yeah.
And then I offered it. And then I started doing call for entries. And it just kind of became more of a thing than I intended it to.
Yeah. But that means that's what the universe has held for you, this moment to be able to really do something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So it just sounds serendipitous to me that you were in a place, you love mortgages too, and I know you love real estate in general. Mm-hmm. You're married to a realtor. Like, it's just in your life, but you can definitely see a different light about you when it comes to the artwork.
Yeah. And too, like when I was a kid, so I mean, we grew up in a different generation. Excuse me. We were told that, art is a hobby.
Okay.
It's not necessarily, you have the parents that were like, right. Why are you going to college for an art degree?
Yeah.
Why are you spending all this money?
Yeah.
You forget about how much impact art actually has. Art is on, our cereal boxes. Mm-hmm. It's on walls. It's the stuff we buy at the store. Our art directs us in every direction that we go. And we just kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it becomes such a part of everyday life and I guess there had been at one point maybe too many people trying to pursue it, and it became a little bit, I don't want to say saturated, but maybe just when there's so many people trying to do something, it becomes like
real estate.
And that's in my mind as I'm saying this. Like, at some point everyone's like, oh, well, everyone's done that, and you're not going to make any money because there's too many people doing it and whatever. But I think that's the opposite. Same thing with a podcast. Like, I've had people say they were nervous to start a podcast. I'm like, well, how many books do you think there are in the world?
Yeah, exactly. Well, everybody, and too, like, I'm a huge book reader.
Yeah.
So everybody has a story to tell, and it all might sound similar. And just like some paintings might look similar from a distance, it all might sound similar, but if you get up close, there are so many different details.
Yeah. And
things that you should take a look at or should talk to people about that you might have missed.
Yeah.
So, and two, like, it's get your story out there. We all need to have our stories out there. We're going to feel like a community in this like big, vast world we're in with so many people, that we have so many people in this world that it almost feels like overcrowded and isolated. Mm-hmm. But if you just open yourself up, it allows that community to kind of come in.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. And also, like, those little differences that you're talking about reach different people. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff is out there on purpose for different people to connect with.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it anyways. So
for sure.
So with your shift from mortgages to the creative world, how did you, I know, because you really just like one day you made a post and you like announced it to the world, like, I'm doing this now solely. And I know you even said, I think in the post, I know that this is going to be a shift in my finances, a shift in the way I spend my time from day to day. Like, how has that been now since you made that announcement to the world?
Very difficult.
Really?
Yes. So, I mean, at least with mortgages and having a job, I will say the best thing that could have happened to me because of this transition is that at least with mortgages and real estate, you are commission based. Mm-hmm. The transactions that you do mean that, you don't show up somewhere and you get a paycheck.
Right.
So I'm used to having downtime or slow periods or not making any money or making a lot of it and then not making some. I'm used to that kind of roller coaster up and down. So that transition has been okay. But the hardest part is a lot of times in the morning, I don't have a schedule. So figuring out how I'm going to schedule and be productive during my day has been really difficult for me, especially in the winter months. I just don't do well.
Right. Not a lot of inspiration in the winter months.
No. So just figuring out my day-to-day schedule has been really difficult because I feel like I'm just all over the place. So the last few months I've been trying to work on, creating specific days that I go into my studio and work on art, creating specific days where I touch base with customers, creating specific days that I try to work on enhancing my online presence or creating content. So that to me has probably been the most difficult shift. Financially, it hasn't been the best. I prepared for that.
Right.
I absolutely prepared for that.
Yes.
And you can't really do these things unless you are prepared, either financially, like with a savings account, or having a supportive partner that can, push you through, and you don't have to, can take care of the bills on your behalf for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So. The supportive partner is a very big thing in life in general, obviously, but especially in, I guess you could say commission-based type of jobs, or independent contractor type of jobs, self-employed in general, because there's going to be times where something is not producing. Yeah. And you need a supportive partner.
I really think that, consistency is key. It really is. Consistency is key. And, broadening my horizons and broadening that audience that I have. Mm-hmm. I can't keep selling artwork to the same 200 people. Yeah. That small sphere. So, just like real estate, I have to get out there and network. I have to put myself out there. I have to kind of showcase the down and dirty. I have to be okay with not liking everything that I put out there, but I just have to do it anyways. Yeah.
So how would you say networking is different for the art world over real estate?
It really isn't.
Okay.
I actually find artists, and especially the local art community here in Virginia Beach and Norfolk, to be very, very supportive. Oh. Everybody's been very supportive of each other. Art is very self-isolating. Mm-hmm. I go into a studio and I hang out by myself all day. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I hang out with my husband and my kids, so I don't get a lot of I don't go to an office and get to be around a bunch of adults. I'm not, going to a luncheon on Fridays and stuff like that. So I get a little unmotivated when I self-isolate too much. Right. And I tend to do that, but the community here has been really good, and I try to go to as many events as I can. I can't go to all of them. But there are local art shows and stuff, and I try to go and show my support and make friends and, talk and put myself out there.
Good. So as far as your inspiration for your art, where would you say some of that comes from?
Literally can come from anything. Past experiences, books I'm reading, things I'm just really into. So right now, a lot of my art is just coming from the poetry that I write. Okay. And I'm working on a new collection called Of Word and Myth. So it is two things. So I've always been obsessed with Viking lore, Greek mythology. I just find it also fascinating. I mean, my tattoo is all Viking lore stuff on my bag.
I've never really looked at it in detail before.
Viking stuff. And so, and my dad kind of put that in me, but I also love books like that, these kind of lore and fantasy and these unworldly things. But I've read the Iliad and the Odyssey and Dante's Inferno and things like that are based off of, they are long poems, or they read almost like long poems, and they're based off of poetry and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of using that inspiration based off of my own personal poetry to kind of blend those together. So,
okay. So are you planning to have a book of poetry at some point? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're kind of working on that.
I'm working on it. I'm not working on it as quickly as I wanted to. So I have a lot of my poems already written down. It's transferring them into the platform and retyping everything and re-going over everything. That's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah. But that's cool, because then some of your work will then have it'll kind of come full circle with the book, I imagine.
Yes.
And I imagine you have some sort of vision for how you'll present that to the world.
Yes.
That's exciting. I can't wait to watch that.
Thank you. I know it's, I'm kind of slow rolling it a little bit. I feel like last year, I did my first art show and it was great. And now I just really want to take a lot of time with my pieces. So, before I'd spend, say, 8 to 15 hours on a painting. Right now, I'm spending anywhere from 30 to 50 hours on a single painting. Like,
Okay.
I'm just trying to take my time with them. I'm trying to take my time with the words that I use in the poetry that blend with that. Like, I'm settling. I feel like I'm just like settling down with my paintings a little bit and trying to like really make sure I get them as perfect as I want them.
I mean, honestly, when I think about it, I don't know if I've ever put like an hour to something or like a time frame to something like that, because I've never done it. But when I think about it, it seems like 30 hours makes a lot of sense for something that has so much meaning. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not all in one time period. So I'm not going and working on a painting for 30 hours at one time. I mean, this is broken up over time and weeks. And sometimes I'll work 2 to 3 hours on a painting, and then I'll jump into 1 to 2 hours on another one. Okay. And then I kind of jump around and kind of work that way. Because too, with art, you have to wait for things to dry. Right. You have to add layers. Sometimes,
and your hand probably hurts.
Yeah. And some of you have to feed yourself. Right. So I'm just trying to make it more of a meditative process and slowing myself down. And I feel like I'm in this like era of just like, I've always been like a go person, and just learning to like slow down.
I love that. I'm kind of in the same position. Obviously not with art, but I'm taking a lot of advice from you as we talk, because I feel like that's what I'm telling myself as well.
Yeah. I mean, this morning, I had my husband take the kids to school, and I sat in bed and I read my book and I drank my coffee. I mean, I got them out, I made them breakfast and stuff, but I was like, I just want to like take 45 minutes to myself this morning and just relax. And,
you needed it. Yeah. Sounds like he's very, very, very supportive. Like, that's awesome that you have that.
Yeah. And too, he was like, he's a get up and go person. So he's like, okay, I'll drop him off, and then I got to go to the gym, and I got to do this, I got to do that.
You're like,
so
okay, you do that. So kind of just wrapping things up, I would love to hear if you have any advice for professionals, not just in real estate, but just in the corporate world that are thinking about making a pivot into a creative space or something where they can express themselves more. Any advice for somebody who's looking to do what you've done?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm a big believer in taking leaps of faith. You just got to do it. Yeah. And I hate to say, like, it sounds so cliche, but you really do. Like, you know, I'm definitely the person, like, close your eyes and jump in feet first. You'll figure it out. Right. You'll figure it out. And two, don't be afraid to say you thought something would work out differently than you thought. And kind of like, if it doesn't fulfill you, just move away from it. Just move along. Yeah. Move on to the next thing.
Right. So like, identify the problem and go to what you love. Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I think this particular episode is going to be super interesting to a lot of different people. So I'm going to actually give a plug to your website. Yeah. And please, if you have time, to go check out her artwork and her soon-to-be poem book as well. And if you guys have any connections for her, reach out and I'll get you guys in touch.
Yep, I do canvas work. I do large-scale murals. I'm actually about to do another apartment building.
Lovely.
So I'm taking a look at it tomorrow. I'm going to do projections and measurements for that. And I'm trying to plan my art show for this year. So I'm figuring that out.
Cool. Yeah. Well, keep us posted on that. I'd love to have you back for another episode to hear how you're evolving in all this. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Bye. Bye. Bye.